Welcome to Have a Bible Question Live, where you'll receive a Bible answer to your Bible question. And now, let's study the Bible.
Let me throw something else out on Sharon's question that I think is important. You need to be a part of a congregation, even if you're shut in, because you need those shepherds. You want somebody. Part of what the shepherds do, the elders, are to watch over your soul. Isn't that found in Peter?
Hebrews chapter 13,
Hebrews.
verse
Wow, I was
17.
First Peter 5 talks about
And
that
1
as
Peter
well.
5,
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Phew, I wasn't as bad off as I thought I was.
Yeah, you were right.
But I mean,
Both.
it frustrates me that so many people it's like they resent the idea of what shepherds are supposed to do. Now, if the shepherds are lording over the flock, I can get why they would be hesitant in their submission. Not that it would justify it, but the elders are warned not to lord over the flock.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're trying to do that and they're being over domineering, then no wonder there's some kickback.
Right.
But we talked about that word for lording. Well, and you looked it up for me one time, and it actually means the idea of managers,
Mm-hmm.
that they are managers of this. And so when you start thinking about that, why would we not want somebody to help us out and watch for us, to guard our souls, to make sure that we're being fed? Acts 20, verse 27, 28. We ought to want to be a part, is my estimation. And in fact, to people that are looking for congregations to worship at, when you're examining New Testament churches, I would highly throw this out there, is that before I worshiped at a congregation without an eldership, if there's one with an eldership, I would go there, because I want to make sure not only is it a biblical pattern, but that I have a shepherd watching out for me. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I will say there is a caveat there, because unfortunately there
Some
are
people
places.
can't help it.
Well, no, you can't help it, or there might be, say you have two options. One doesn't have elders and one does. And the one that has elders may not be a good eldership. I mean, that does happen.
Yeah.
So I know it's a different
Implied
study.
in there, implied
Is
in
that
there
everything
is
is
a qualified
everything is right.
eldership. Qualified. You know, if two congregations are both sound good and I have the option, I'm going to go where I can have an eldership. As a preacher, I can tell you that. I'd rather preach for a congregation that has an eldership than to preach for a congregation that does not. I preach for both. I am thankful for our elders here. I'm thankful at Ackerman for having our elders. I'm not bashing Northside. I'm not bashing Louisville. But I'm going to tell you what, I love preaching at congregations that have good, sound elderships. Hey, that's a lot we just went through, isn't it? Sharon, you had no idea what all you were asking, did you? But before we go to break, I just want to say this. Realize a lot of times when you ask questions, we have a lot of different backgrounds we approach the question from, because we've been asked by this situation, or we've studied a doctrine over here that sometimes somebody asks a question, they're not thinking about this that we have approached in the past. And so we try and be as inclusive as much as we can.
And what's happened sometimes is we've answered questions from those backgrounds. And even though that's what happened a few weeks ago, we were coming at the same, we arrived at the same spot, but came at it from two totally different approaches because of that background or what's happening.
Exactly. Tim, Hester puts on here, sometimes the one without elders could use the support of new members to help encourage the development of elders. And certainly that can be the case in certain situations. Speaking in general terms, though, if I have the rathers, that's what I'm going to look out for. But I do appreciate the comment there.